League can be toxic, stressful, and most of the time frustrating, but what if someone changed all that? This is my off-meta account where I'm gonna try a ton of weird builds for 10 hours and see if I can climb the ranks, but most importantly, have some actual fun playing League. And honestly, some of these builds end up being pretty good. Anyway, to start off this account, I decided to play one of my mains for years, Wukong. But instead of building him like a bruiser or lethality, I'm gonna make him unkillable. For runes, I'm going Grasp of the Undying to gain max HP. And for your build, you wanna start with Sundered Sky, because when combined with Grasp, the trades with your Q are amazing. After that, we're gonna go Unending Despair for a solid healing effect, Spirit Visage to buff our healing effects, and both of them combined give us pretty tanky stats. Next up is either Blade of the Ruined King or Ravenous Hydra for lifesteal, depending on how tanky the enemy team is. And my secret spicy final item is Riftmaker. Let me explain. First, its passive effect gives you 10% increased damage and 10% Omnivamp after 5 seconds of combat, which is actually a lot of damage and healing. Second, your E has 100% AP scaling, and with all the HP you build, this item on its own can give you over 120 AP along with its tanky stats. Let's see how the build does. I'm telling you, I have cooked! To my surprise, things actually started off pretty well. And to be fair, because my first item is Sundered Sky, the early game fights play pretty similar to normal Wukong because it's just another bruiser item. Unfortunately, the first game we kind of got rolled and I didn't really get to test this build out too much, but that being said, what I did test felt amazing. Well, let's see where we start this ranked journey. We're starting Gold 4! No! After realizing this account was just Gold 4, I came up with a goal for myself. Hit Platinum by the end of the 10 hours. I mean, sure, this build is off meta, but Wukong has been my main for years. How hard could it possibly be? And even though we fell behind this game too, it was at this moment I realized just how good this build could be. Ult! Kill it all! And it was during this 1v4 that I truly fell in love with this build. This is it! This is it! The limit test! I'll never die! Oh god, I'm dead. I mean, look at all this healing through grievous wounds. Sure, this build did less damage, but I knew if I could shift my playstyle from being an assassin slash fighter to be more of a tank, there was no limit to what this build could do. Yeah, the Yasuo Wukong Wombo combo was kind of a cheat code this game, but hey, the build has potential. I legitimately did the most damage on the team with this build, man. I'm telling you, I have cooked. Next game was 13-2 and the enemy team surrendered in 15 minutes. Game 4 was against an all AD team, and because Wukong's passive gives him like 30 to 60 armor for free, it was pretty disgusting. No, 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 no. Fuck me! Heal! More healing! This is the best build in the world! Yeah, we won the game right after that. At this point, you're probably wondering why this build works, and I think it's about time I explain. It mainly works for 3 reasons. 1, Wukong's passive gives him a ton of armor and 2% max HP regen in combat. This means he's already secretly tanky, and with Spirit Visage, he has more like 2.5 max HP regen. 2, as I've already said before, his short trades with your Q, Grasp, and Sundered Skies do a lot of damage and gives you sustain in lane, which is something Wukong usually doesn't have early game. And 3, Wukong's damage ratios kind of suck, other than his ultimate. Your Q is only 55% of your bonus AD, and your E actually scales with ability power. So even without building damage, your ult does 32% of the enemy's max HP, your E does more damage because you're building AP, and your Q still has 30% armor shred, which is great utility. Point is, this build kinda works. And going into my final game of the day, I needed to change my build order a little bit because I was against a Cho'Gath. I'm dead, but it's fine, he misses minions. Cho'Gath is already one of Wukong's worst matchup because he's AP, and since he's super tanky, the only way I could kill him is if I went Blade of the Ruined King second. And even then, it took forever to kill him. And like I said earlier, I do think it's important to change the build around sometimes depending on your matchup. I mean, if building a certain item early makes the matchup better, go for it. Anyway, after like 5 straight wins, I found myself in Gold 2, 37 LP. And getting on the next day, I was ready to have a good time, and for the most part, everything was going pretty well. But then I found out the main problem with this build. I kind of do no damage, so Sion just ignored me and split pushed all game. This is a match where I should have gone Blade of the Ruined King again, and I didn't. So I took my rage out on a Garen in my next game. But even after doing well this game, I just couldn't stop thinking about my issue from last game. No! This build is failing me! Oh, the problem is I don't do damage. But who needs damage when you're an unkillable tank with 2 knockups and you have a super fed Draven on your team? Another easy win for the top lane. And I had this weird sense of deja vu next game when I played against another Garen in my next game. Yeah, I don't think Garen players realize that my spin to win move is just far superior. 2 can play at that game. Anyway, even though I've already played this build for like 5 hours, I cannot get over how tanky this build is. Did you see the healing? I literally just get to run at the entire enemy team completely fearless and never drop below 50% HP. Also, can we just talk about how amazing Seraphine's ult was? It hit the entire enemy team and basically just won us this game. But yeah, I am loving this build. My next game I got autofill jungle, and since Wukong can play jungle, I decided to give it a shot. But to be honest, I have never been a fan of Wukong jungle, and this tanky build made my clear super slow, which did not help at all. Yeah, we kind of got destroyed the entire game, and we never really stood a chance. But yeah, this is more of a top Wukong build. I would not recommend it in the jungle. But it's okay, I got top next game and ended up going against a tank Ashe with Grasp. But there's only room for one off-meta build in this game. Fuck you guys, man. And yeah, after that kill, the game was kind of over. The enemy team just didn't know it yet. And a little later, when I was getting like my 8th kill, I realized we were kind of behind on kills, dragons, and the enemy team had Rift Herald. I knew what I needed to do. This is the game where I turn it around. I make everybody know just how strong this build is. So without backing, I killed Talon, then I killed Lee Sin, and then I killed Talon again. And after building a massive lead, my team grouped around me and we actually started winning fights super hard. And I'm not gonna lie, our team fighting was absolutely disgusting this game. I was unkillable, did a ton of damage, and had 2 knockups. Seraphine was landing these amazing ults, and Kiana was using her damage to finish off the enemy team. Are we the greatest players to have ever graced this game? If this doesn't prove that this build has potential, I don't know what will. Unfortunately, I followed that game up with my first bad laning phase against a Garen. But since his ignite was down, I teleported back to lane and killed him immediately. And before I knew it, I found myself destroying another Garen. I think they all need to watch my 10-hour Garen video. I mean, seriously. These Garen players are like, Unga Bunga, me Garen, me spin. Well, guess what? I spin too, bitch. Oh, you have healing reduction now? Yeah, that doesn't matter either. Unfortunately, this game ended right before a crazy pop-off fight, which was a little bit frustrating. Game 13 was kind of weird. I killed Fiora early when I got my ultimate, which was pretty normal. But then she just kind of gave up and roamed all game, which let me get 5 plates and 2 towers in 20 minutes. But even though things were great for me, her roams did actually set my team behind. Once again, I knew I needed to carry this game, so I grouped with my team, and even though fights weren't going perfectly, the game was super winnable. No, please, I have AIDS. Not really, I mean space AIDS. I will say though, Malzahar's outplay button made this game very annoying. But even with that faker level outplay, I was still able to carry fights because of just how tanky I was. And I don't know what my team was doing during this fight, but I was fighting the enemy team 1v4, trying to keep them from getting Dragon Soul. I fought for my freaking life, and I not only somehow survived, but we also won the fight. Luckily for the next dragon fight, my team actually was there, and once again, I found myself fighting the entire enemy team so my team could do Elder Dragon. Fuck me! Let me heal! Healing like a god! Seriously, I should have died like 3 times during that fight, but instead we just won the game. Before I knew it, I was 1 game away from platinum, and as a reward, I was against a ranged top laner. Fuck you, man. Oh, god damn. I truly believe people who play ranged top laners really don't know how to play the game. Like, look at this guy walking right up to me. What on earth does he think is gonna happen here? Yeah, anyway, we all just smashed our lanes and won the game. Holy shit, we're plat? Oh my god! This build might actually be insane. And just like that, I went from gold 4 to plat 4 in just 8 hours with this build. And I have to say, it was like the most fun I've had playing Wukong in a while. But after reaching my goal, I kind of checked out the rest of the challenge and had a really rough final few games, minus the one MVP game. But anyway, how good is this build? Honestly, I'd probably put it in A tier. It's definitely not something you can build every game because some duelists and tanks will give you a hard time. But yeah, this build was actually super fun, and let me know any other off-meta builds you want me to try in the future.